Hello everyone. In today's video we are going to make this really cute table topper. It's from American Patchwork and Quilting's website. It's a free pattern. They call it Terrifyingly Simple Table Topper. Okay, so I want to say that I used 100% of my scraps to make this, and I'm super excited to always find patterns that we can use to use up our scraps. Okay, so I could see this as a wall hanging, a mini quilt, or you could make a bunch of these and put them together as a big bed quilt. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so here is the cutting instructions for our 5-pieced blocks in our table topper. Let's look at some of these instructions. So from the orange print, it says we're going to cut 2 4¼ inch squares. We're going to be cutting those squares diagonally twice. That's an X. And it will make 8 triangles total, okay? And then notice it also says we will be cutting 2 2¼ inch squares, and we will be cutting those half diagonally one time, and that will give us 4 triangles total. All right? Okay guys, so now that we have all of our fabric cut for our 5-piece blocks, let's look at our center block. This is how we're going to lay all of the pieces out, and then we will go step by step how to sew those sections together. Okay, so now that we know how to lay out our center block of our table topper, we have 4 corner blocks that we are now going to lay out. These are all going to be the same. Unless you want to make it scrappy, then they could, of course, all be different. So this is how we're going to lay out our 4 corner blocks. All right, so now I have all 5 of my pieced blocks cut and laid out on my design board. The next thing we're going to do is cut our 8-inch setting squares and our 2 borders. So let's go look at that now. This is the cutting instructions for our setting square and our 2 borders on our table topper. So we'll cut 4 8-inch setting squares, or whatever size your blocks finish at when we trim them. And then we will also need a thin black border and then the orange border on the outside. All right, so now that we have all of our fabric cut for our table topper, we are going to start working on the centers of our 5-piece blocks. So each of those blocks will have a 9 patch in the center. So let's sew all of our 9 patches together first. Okay guys, so we need to make 4 of these corner units for our block. So here we have our black triangles, our 2-inch square, and a little triangle that we cut. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay these right sides together like that. We're going to stitch right here. 1/4 of an inch. Then we'll flip it open. Then we'll take this triangle and we'll lay it on top. We'll stitch 1/4 of an inch there, and we'll bring it open. Then we're going to take the very small triangle and we're going to lay it like this. We're going to stitch across here. Okay? And then we'll flip that open. And then we're going to trim our block right like that. Okay? So we'll trim off all of that. And that is how our corner of our blocks will look. And we're going to make 4 of these for each block. So let's take this to the sewing machine and start sewing these together. All right, so now that we have our 4 corners all sewn and our 9 patch done for the center of our block, now we're going to start putting our block together. So we're going to take 2 of our corners and sew them on opposite sides of the block first, kind of like you're snowballing your block. Think of it like that. And then once we have those 2 corners sewn on opposite of each other, we'll sew the next 2 corners on the 2 remaining sides of our 9 patch opposite of each other. All right, so let's go to the sewing machine and start sewing these together. All right, so the next step is to press our blocks that we finished, and then we are going to trim them 8 inches square. All right, so the next step is we're going to now lay our table topper out. We have our 5-piece blocks and our 4 setting squares. Now let's lay it out as another 9 patch, okay? So let's go to the sewing machine and sew it together in 3 rows first, and then we will sew those rows together. All right, so we are almost finished with our table topper. So the next thing we're going to do is to get out those borders that we cut earlier, and we're going to start sewing them on. So let's first sew our black border on all the way around. All right, so now that we have border number 1 already sewn on, we're going to go ahead and take border number 2, that's our orange fabric, and sew it all the way around our table topper. All right, guys, so that's it. Our table topper is finished. I love it. It's so cute and so easy to make. All right, so I'm going to give you the link to their website so you can find the PDF pattern directly. And thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Like and subscribe to Grandma's channel. Like and subscribe to Grandma's channel.